There's a field all around you right now. You can't see it. You can't feel it. But if I gave you eyes that could see radio, this room would not be empty. It would be a blinding storm. Trillions of waves, bouncing off the walls, your desk, your skin, your coffee mug. Interfering, colliding, overlapping. And yet, in the middle of that chaos, your laptop is watching this video. Perfectly, without a single wire. How is that possible? How do we teach machines to find perfect order inside invisible noise? To answer that, we have to start not in a lab, but in Hollywood. In 1940, Hedy Lamarr was the most famous woman in the world. MGM called her the most beautiful woman in film. But she was profoundly bored. Her mind wasn't in Hollywood. It was on the war. At the time, Nazi U-boats were sinking ships in the Atlantic almost at will. The Allies tried to guide torpedoes by radio, but the Germans could easily find the frequency and jam it, sending the torpedo uselessly into the sea. Hedy had a strange dinner conversation with her friend, the avant-garde composer George Antheil. Antheil was famous for a ballet that synchronized 16-player pianos at once. And Hedy had a thought. What if you could make a torpedo guidance signal work like a player piano? What if the transmitter and receiver could hop from frequency to frequency at the exact same time, following the same piano roll? The enemy would only hear a blip of noise before it vanished. They patented it on August 11th, 1942. Patent number 2,292,387. Secret communication system. They called it frequency hopping spread spectrum. The U.S. Navy read it and then filed it away. An officer reportedly told her she should stick to selling war bonds to raise money, which she did, raising $7 million. Hedy never made a dollar from it. The patent expired before anyone used it. But the core idea that you can make a signal stronger, more secure, and invisible to interference by spreading it across many frequencies. That idea would lie dormant for 30 years until it became the foundation for everything wireless. Bluetooth, GPS, and Wi-Fi all trace directly back to that player piano concept. Fast forward to 1971. Oahu, Hawaii. Norman Abramson, a professor at the University of Hawaii, has a geographical problem. His campus is on Oahu, but he has computers and users on Kauai, Maui, and Hawaii, separated by ocean. Running cable is impossible. So he asks a question that sounds naive. Why can't computers just talk through the air? He built a network called LOHANet, and it was brilliantly simple. If a computer on one island wanted to send data, it would just transmit it on the shared radio frequency. No permission, no scheduling. Of course, sometimes two computers would talk at the same time. The signals would collide and become garbage. Abramson's solution was almost human. If your packet collides, you don't get angry. You just wait a random amount of time and say it again. Computer scientists call this random access and exponential backoff. But really, it's just polite conversation at a crowded dinner party. LOHANet worked. On June 1971, it became the first time computers ever networked wirelessly without wires. Every contention-based wireless protocol, since, including the Wi-Fi you're using now, is a direct descendant of LOHANet. But there was a second piece of the puzzle, and it came from the government. In 1985, the FCC did something weird. They opened up the ISM bands, industrial, scientific, and medical bands at 900 megahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, and 5.8 gigahertz. These are considered junk bands. Your microwave leaks at 2.4 gigahertz. That's why old Wi-Fi died when you heated food. The FCC said, anyone can use these, no license needed. But you have to accept any interference, and you have to not cause too much. Most big companies ignored it. It was too noisy, too unreliable. But for a few engineers, free and noisy was exactly the opportunity they needed. Inside NCR Corporation in Nieuwegein, the Netherlands, an engineer named Vic Hayes is obsessed with a different problem: cash registers. He thinks, what if a store could move its cash registers anywhere? No cables. He builds a wireless cash register system called Wavelan. In 1991, it launched. It was slow, 1 to 2 megabits per second. The card was the size of a brick and cost $1,400. Nobody bought it. But Vic saw something bigger. If NCR, Apple, and Motorola all build their own wireless systems that don't talk to each other, the market will die. We need one language, one standard. He volunteers to chair the IEEE 802.11 working group, the committee to define wireless LANs. It was 7 years of hell. Imagine a room with engineers from every rival company in the world arguing about modulation, frequencies, power. Vic's job was to make them agree. He was so patient, his colleagues started calling him the father of Wi-Fi. Not because he invented the technology, but because he forced the family to stay together. On June 26, 1997, they finally voted. IEEE 802.11 to 1997 was ratified. The first Wi-Fi standard. 2 megabits per second. Expensive. Flawed. But it existed. It still wasn't fast enough. The real speed came from space. In Australia, at the CSIRO, a radio astronomer named John O'Sullivan is trying to do something impossible. Find the faint radio whisper of a black hole exploding. The signal from space is incredibly weak and smeared by traveling through the atmosphere. To clean it up, his team, with physicist Dr. John Dean and others, invents a powerful mathematical tool. They use fast Fourier transforms to split a messy, echo-filled signal into many tiny, clean, slow signals, making it easier to decode. They called it OFDM. Then, in 1992, O'Sullivan looks at the indoor wireless problem, the same echo problem Vic Hayes is facing, where signals bounce off every wall, and realizes it's the exact same physics as his black hole problem. The team patents the use of OFDM for wireless networking. U.S. Patent 5,487,069. It was the missing piece. Without OFDM, modern Wi-Fi cannot handle multipath interference. Without it, your signal dies the moment it hits a wall. Every Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7 router you buy today pays for that black hole research. CSIRO would eventually earn over $1.2 billion in royalties from it. We now have the standard. We have the speed. We are still missing one thing, a reason for anyone to care. July 21, 1999. Jacob K. Javits Convention Center, New York. Macworld Expo. Steve Jobs walks on stage, holding an iBook. It's a clamshell, bright orange, with a handle. It looks like a lunchbox. People are confused. Then he says, and as you know, it has built-in wireless networking. He clicks a button. He picks up the iBook. He walks across the stage. He carries it through a hula hoop. The crowd can see there are no wires. And the web page is still loading. The crowd loses its mind. Screaming applause. He then holds up the other half, a translucent flying saucer called the Airport Base Station. It talks to this. For $99. What Apple did was genius marketing. The engineers were still calling it IEEE 802.11b Direct Sequence. A branding firm called Interbrand was hired by the Wi-Fi Alliance to give it a name. They wanted something that sounded like hi-fi, something friendly. They landed on 2 syllables, Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi Alliance then added a tagline for the logo, the standard for wireless fidelity. People assumed that was what it meant. It doesn't. The founders have said on record, Wi-Fi doesn't stand for anything. It's just a brand. But that brand worked. In 1999, the same year as Jobs' demo, 6 companies formed the Wireless Ethernet Compatibility Alliance, now the Wi-Fi Alliance, to certify that if it says Wi-Fi on the box, it just works. From 1999 to 2002, the price of a wireless card fell from $1,400 to under $50. Intel started putting it inside every laptop with Centrino in 2003. Starbucks started offering it. Airports started offering it. The cable was cut forever. What happened next is just acceleration. 2003, 802.11g, 54 megabits per second, enough for YouTube. 2009, 802.11n, with MIMO, multiple antennas sending multiple streams at once. Enough for Netflix. 2013, 802.11 AC, gigabit speeds. Faster than plugging in a cable. 2021, Wi-Fi 6, designed not for speed, but for crowds, so 100 devices in one house can all talk at once without LHN-style collisions. Today, Wi-Fi 7, which can do 40 gigabits per second, using the new 6 GHz band that the FCC opened up. But the most profound shift is not technical. It's invisible. Wi-Fi became the first truly global commons. No one owns it. No company controls it. It's an unlicensed field we all agreed to share, politely, using rules invented in Hawaii and the Netherlands. In 2005, you asked a hotel, "Do you have Wi-Fi?" Today, you assume it like running water. During the pandemic, it became our schools, our offices, our connection to our grandparents. So the next time you see those 3 curved lines on your phone, don't think about a router. Think about the chain. A Hollywood actress who wanted to sink submarines. A professor on an island who let computers interrupt each other. A patient Dutchman who kept a room of rivals talking for 7 years. And an astronomer listening for a dying star. They were all trying to solve completely different problems. And together, they built the invisible layer our entire modern world now rests on.